Hey folks, Mike Dawkins from World Cast Anglers here with your Jackson Hole fly fishing forecast for the weekend of the 9th and 10th of August. I apologize for not getting a fishing forecast out last weekend. We were having some technical difficulties there in the fly shop, but I'm back and here's the information to make your day and time on the water this weekend a success and lots of fun. I'm down here on the Teton. I'm sort of trying to get out of the wind a little bit. We're having a dry cold front sort of push through with some really high winds in the 20 to 30 mile an hour mark. This cold front will cool off our daytime temperatures going into the weekend, which is a great thing as it's been pretty hot and oppressive the past 10 days. But the big thing to worry about is we're going to get a lot of wind and we're not going to get a lot of precipitation. And with hot, dry conditions, lots of wind, low humidity, it is just a recipe for forest fires and continual smoke and diminished air quality. So let's keep our fingers crossed that we get through this one and not get any additional smoke or anything that's ruining our beautiful views we've had the past 10, 12 days. And we start to tick closer into that fall time period where we can get some precipitation and some shorter days, longer nights, and cooler water temperatures for our trout friends. We have our Fly Shop happy hour coming up on every Friday from 4 p.m. until close, half off our trout, dry flies, foam flies, nymphs, and streamers. We've got dollar tall boys for those 21 and up, and our sale rack is 60% off there. That's every Friday during our peak summer fishing season from 4 p.m. to close. Come in, stock up, get ready for your weekend on the water, have a couple cold ones and hang out, or stock up for a trip that you've got coming down the pipe or travels, during the off season. It's all there and it's all valid. So definitely stop in and get prepared for wherever you're heading. Our weather coming into the weekend, golly, it looks pretty darn nice. We've got 72 and 42, 73 and 43 on Saturday and Sunday. So this dry cold front is definitely going to give us some cooler daytime temperatures that our trout friends need, and especially might even cool our water temperatures out of those unfriendly zones for, our trout. But our 10-day forecast, it's looking even hotter and it's looking even drier with limited opportunities for precip. So enjoy it while it lasts. Jackson Lake is 87% of capacity. Palisades Reservoir is 53% of capacity. The Teton here in Teton Valley, we've got 217 CFS in Driggs, 502 CFS on the lower river. Up here in the valley, we've still been having some really good small dry fly fishing. It's been mostly an early morning program until around noon, maybe the early afternoon. Lots of PMDs, lots of tricos, clouds of tricos, almost like what you would see on the Missouri River or the Bighorn or something like that. But we're seeing some really good bug hatches. You mix in some terrestrials in the dog days of summer, and you've got a pretty good mix of some fishing opportunities here on the Teton. The water levels are low. The water clarity is really clear, and the floats are going to take you a lot longer than maybe they did at the beginning of the summer, but I'd throw those definitely in the mix if you're looking for some technical dry fly fishing and fun terrestrial fishing coming into this weekend or the next 10 days. The South Fork, we've got 12,200 CFS coming out of Palisades Dam, 12,400 CFS on the lower river around Heise. Top to bottom, the South Fork's pretty darn solid as we look into the second half of the month of August and those dog days of summer. The big thing to note is we're starting to see some of our mutant stones or our Classinia stoneflies. Those are those stoneflies that hatch at night, and the one of the stoneflies has a shorter wing case, so they scurry on the water surface. So skating and moving Trinobles, water walkers, things of those sorts is the perfect way to trigger responses from the trout because they've been seeing that all night. To me, it's some of the most fun dry fly fishing and foam fishing that we have because it's super interactive and you're getting to move the fly. I often refer to it as it's like you're streamer fishing with a big foam fly. That has been growing in consistency from South Fork 4 in the lower river into the canyon and now up into the upper sections. So get on the water pre-dawn, strip some foam around, have a blast, finish out the day with some droppers or some small dry fly fishing with the still strong PMD hatches on the riffles. But be ready, those fish are pretty educated and they've seen a lot of pressure, so they are very smart right now. So bring lighter tippets, smaller flies, and have a little bit more patience. If you're looking for that riffle game that on the South Fork that we all know and love so much more. Terrestrials are also making a play there on the South Fork, your Schroeder's parachute hoppers, the thunder thigh hoppers, any of those terrestrials are definitely worth the wait in your fly box moving forward as our summer hatches wane and our fall, or I'm sorry, our summer hatches wane and our fall hatches start, sort of stall out to begin until we get some cooler weather. The Snake in Jackson, 1,990 CFS coming out of Jackson Lake Dam, 3,380 CFS going into Palisades reservoir there before the salt and the grays. Similarly, top to bottom, the Snake is fishing in true summertime fashion. We're seeing some really good bug hatches of PMDs and caddis. We're seeing the start of the mutant stones, and we're also seeing the terrestrials. So your water walkers, your hoppers, your big beetles, or just sort of standard Chernobyl bug or Chernobyl style patterns paired with droppers like a Duracell or a Spanish bullet or a bullet quill, a small pheasant tail. All of those things can be really productive this time of year. Varying your dropper length can be, something that I would definitely be doing as I was searching around for fish in different water types. Your general attractors like your parachute PMDs, a general rusty spinner can find some fish in some of those riffles and recircs and slack water areas. We're not seeing as many of those 68-degree water temperature days as we were seeing in Moose, a couple of weeks ago, but they're still around. And I would think that they're probably going to come around a little bit more here in the next sort of couple of weeks. Lost my camera, huh? As I was saying there on the Snake, I don't think you're going to be seeing a lot of those after my camera blew over from these wind gusts, those 68-degree water temperature days, but they're definitely a possibility. And we're definitely going to start to see a little bit of more of those when we see this warmer weather coming in on our 10-day. The Henry's Fork, we've got 839 CFS coming out of the Box Canyon, 1,530 CFS on the lower river. The lower river has still been pretty strong with PMDs, rusty spinners, some technical dry fly fishing there, early morning periods, so you can sort of stay in that optimal window and not stress out our trout friends in that 67, 68-degree mark. And we're also seeing some pretty good hopper fishing down there in the early morning, or you may even get a good little opportunity here on Saturday and Sunday with some cooler weather to fish some of that stuff that we haven't really been, it hasn't been as popular going into the summer season, that you could throw in a great terrestrial day there on the lower river of the Henry's Fork and have a lot of fun. The upper river has still been pretty solid. The Box Canyon, true nymphing game still going on there with small rubber legs, zebra midges, small pheasant tails, anything along those lines. And the ranch has been pretty good with small dry flies, mostly PMDs, every life cycle, emergers, cripples, spinners, small adults, CDC, long leaders, light tippets, low profile. It's full on head hunting game there on the ranch right now. And then I would also throw in some of your terrestrials, those CDC water wasps, little CDC honey ants, those little flying ants and termites ants sort of styled patterns can be really productive too. Flat Creek opened on the 1st there in Jackson, and we saw people having a lot of fun and catching a bunch of fish out there, and it looked like a blast for those sort of early morning periods or those evening periods, some walkway things to mix something up in the summer season. Mostly a terrestrial game out there with hoppers, beetles, and ants. We're seeing some prolific midge hatches and PMD hatches, and we're also seeing, a little bit of everything. You may even see some calabatus, some stillwater mayflies. So I would have a bit of everything in my fly box. I would also concentrate sometimes on some of those pools, undercut banks, classic flat creek habitat with crane flies this time of year, skating them and moving them around very similarly of what I was saying to the mutant stones can be really productive, especially in sort of those lull periods where you're not seeing any bugs hatching or doing anything on the water. That's about all that we've got as I get blown off of Teton, out of Teton Valley here. Once again, we've got our Fly Shop happy hour Friday, 4 p.m. until close. Half off all of our trout flies, $1 tall boys for those 21 and up. And we've got our sale rack that is 60% off for the happy hour there. So definitely stock up, as I was saying. We enjoy everybody coming into the Fly Shop and seeing everyone during this time period. Have fun on the water coming into the second half of the summer season. Enjoy this warm days, the warm nights, the wet wading, the shorts and the flip-flops, because fall is going to be knocking on our door soon. So thanks again for everyone's support and their business, and we'll see you here next week.